"Watch where you're going, woman! I could have hit you with my car!" shouted Chief Obina furiously as his black SUV screeched to a stop on the wet Lagos road. The heavy rain pounded on the windshield, wipers slashing back and forth, but the figure in front of his car didn't move. He shoved the door open and stepped into the storm, cold water soaking his shoes as the headlights fixed on a young woman curled around a baby like a shield. "Are you trying to die?" he snapped, pointing at her. "Do you know what would have happened if I didn't brake?" She didn't answer. Her hair stuck to her face, her dress was glued to her skin, and the baby in her arms let out a thin, tired cry that cut through the thunder. Obina's anger faltered but didn't vanish. It settled into a tight knot in his chest as he took in the small body shaking in her arms. "Why are you in the road?" he asked, voice hard but lower now. "I was crossing to the shop," she said without fear, chin lifting. "The rain started. The baby is cold." The baby coughed then, a harsh, scraping sound that made the woman hold him tighter, and Obina felt the knot shift into something heavier. Kamsi, his driver, rushed over with an umbrella, trying to shelter his boss, but Obina pushed the umbrella toward the woman instead. Rain hit his face like nails as he leaned closer. "What is his name?" "Alex," she said, her hands trembling though her voice tried to stay steady. "How old?" 8 months. Alex coughed again, longer, weaker, and it made Obina's throat go tight. A minute ago he wanted to explode. Now all he could see was a child losing warmth in the middle of a storm. "There's a clinic 3 minutes away," he said. "Get in the car." She stepped back instantly. No, I don't follow strangers," she said. "I'm not foolish. Foolish is staying in the rain with a sick baby." He shot back, then swallowed the heat in his voice. "Listen, my name is Chief Obina Kalu. I can pay the clinic. We warm him. We make sure he breathes well. After that, if you want to walk away, you walk away. But right now, he needs help." She shifted her small bag behind her body as if to hide it, and he noticed the reflex, the careful fear of someone who had lost too much already. "What's in the bag?" he asked softly. "Nothing," she said at once. "It matters to you," he replied. "I see that." A Danfo splashed a sheet of dirty water over them. The umbrella shuddered, and Alex gave a thin, frightened cry that faded too fast. Obina took off his jacket and wrapped it around the woman's shoulders. "Please," he said, surprising himself with the softness. "Let me help the child." She looked at him for a long second, as if weighing his soul in the rain, and then a lazy voice slid from the shadows by a locked kiosk. "Fine night to be kind, Oga." Another voice answered, closer. "Fine night to collect." 3 men stepped out, unhurried, eyes moving from the woman to the bag to the SUV and back again. The woman drifted behind Obina without thinking, her shoulder brushing his back, and he planted his feet. "Keep moving," he said to the men, calm but cold. They didn't move. The one in front smiled without warmth. "The road is free for all." Kamsi's voice dropped as he touched his phone. "Sir, should I call Musa?" "Call him," Obina said, eyes never leaving the men. "And call the police." The front man nodded toward the woman. "Sister, the rain is heavy. Let us help you carry your bag." She hugged the bag harder and Alex whimpered. The second man's gaze caught on the dull metal charm on the baby's wrist. "Leave," Obina said, simple and final. They spread a little, one to the left, one to the right, tightening the space until the road felt narrower and the rain seemed to roar louder. Obina took half a step back so his body covered the woman and child fully. The anger in him was gone. Focus took its place, clean and sharp. "Musa is on the way," Kamsi whispered. "How long?" 6, maybe 7 minutes. They did not have 7 minutes. The front man made his voice soft, as if coaxing a child. "Madam, we don't want your baby. Just give us what is inside." "There is nothing inside," she whispered, gripping the strap until her knuckles went white. "Then you will not miss it," he said. Obina kept his tone steady. "What is your name?" She looked at him, rain running down her face like clear lines. "Adana." "Adana," he said with a small nod. "Hold Alex tight and step back to the car. Do not run. Do not turn your back. Just move slowly. If I move, they will grab me, she breathed. They will not, he said. How do you know? Because I am standing here, he answered, and he took one step forward into the rain. The men watched the step. The one on the right rolled his shoulders. The one on the left bounced lightly on his feet. The front man stopped pretending to smile. Chief, Kamsi murmured. This is not safe. It isn't, Obina said, eyes fixed ahead. But we are not moving. Lightning cracked, and for 1 white second Obina saw everything. Hard lines on the men's faces, water shining on their knuckles, the stubborn set of their mouths, and in the corner of his eye Adana shaking but holding, Alex pressed to her chest like a heartbeat she would not surrender. Listen to me, he said to her without turning. After this, we drive to the clinic. He needs warmth now. She didn't speak, but he felt her breath hitch. The front man stepped closer, testing the ground and the will in Obina's gaze. Don't make this hard, he said. Obina's jaw locked. Rain ran into his collar, cold as stone. He didn't blink. He didn't back up. He made his voice a clear line through the storm. Over my dead body. The road went still. The circle tightened. Adana's fingers dug into the strap. Alex gave another thin cry that sagged into silence, and the sound drew a quick, helpless prayer out of Obina's chest before he could stop it. Kamsi shifted, trying to widen the umbrella to cover the baby. The men noticed the movement and edged closer, patience thinning. Somewhere far off, a siren wailed and then faded into the rain. Obina measured the distance to the car door, the angle of the curb, the weight of the storm, and the fear in Adana's eyes that had learned not to trust anyone. He spoke without turning. When I say now, put Alex in the back seat and slide in after him. Do not look at them. Do not talk. Just move. She swallowed hard. Will you follow? I will be right here, he said. The front man's eyes flicked once toward the SUV, once toward the bag, and came back to Obina's face like a challenge. Obina didn't give him a single inch. He lifted his chin, set his feet, and let the rain drum over him like war. The men shifted again, closer than before, and the circle snapped tight. The storm held its breath. And then the men moved. The men lunged at once. Obina stepped forward, blocking the first swing with his forearm and driving his shoulder into the man's chest. The second grabbed for Adana's bag. She twisted away, keeping baby Alex tight against her body. The third circled, looking for an opening. Stay behind me, Obina shouted. Kamsi hit the panic button on the key fob. Obina's SUV lights flashed, horn blaring through the rain. Musa is close, he yelled, voice shaking. The leader swung again. Obina caught the wrist, turned, and sent the man stumbling into the puddles. The second rushed him with a clumsy kick. Obina didn't move much. He stepped aside, swept the leg, and the man crashed to the road with a grunt. Give us the bag, the third snarled, reaching for Adana. Obina moved fast. 2 steps and he was between them again, rain hammering his face. Touch her and you will regret it. The leader came up angry, head low. He charged. Tires screeched at the far end of the street. A dark security SUV cut through the storm and stopped hard. The doors flew open. Musa jumped out first, tall and calm, eyes sharp. 2 guards followed. Sir, he called, already moving. The thugs froze, then looked at each other. For a heartbeat, no one breathed. Then the leader spat rain and tried to bluster. We were just. Musa closed the distance in 3 strides, hand up, voice cold. Leave. Now. The men backed away, cursing under their breath. The leader pointed once at the bag, then thought better of it. They melted into the alley and were gone, swallowed by the dark. The street was quiet again, except for the rain and the distant horn of a bus. Adana's knees gave a small shake. She hugged Alex tighter, whispering his name over and over. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Obina turned to her, breath heavy but steady. Are you hurt? She shook her head, still holding the baby close. Alex coughed again, a rough sound that ended in a thin whine. His skin felt cold against her arm. "We are going to the clinic," Obina said. "Now." She looked at him, struggling between fear and relief. Her lips parted. No sound came out. Musa stepped near with a soft blanket from the car. "Ma, please," he said gently. "Wrap the baby. We will drive behind you. You will be safe." Adana hesitated for one long second, then nodded. Musa wrapped baby Alex with steady hands while she held him. The blanket trapped a little warmth. Alex breathed a bit easier. They moved quickly. Obina guided her into the back seat of his SUV and slid in beside her. Kamsi gunned the engine. Musa's security car took the lead. The convoy cut through the rain toward the small 24-hour clinic in Victoria Island. Inside the car, the heater hummed. Adana stared at the foggy window, breathing shallow. "Thank you," she said at last, voice low. "You did not have to help." Obina glanced at Alex's face. "He needed help," he said. "That is enough." At the clinic, a nurse hurried them in. "Baby first," she said, reaching out. Adana stiffened. Obina touched her shoulder. "I will be right here," he said. "Let them help him." She let go. The nurse checked Alex's chest, ears, and temperature, then carried him into a small room with a heater and a nebulizer. "Mild wheeze," the nurse said. "Cold exposure. We will warm him and give a short treatment." Adana stood in the doorway, eyes glued to her child. The mist curled around Alex's tiny face. His breathing began to smooth out. The sound of the machine was soft and steady. Little by little, his fingers unclenched. Obina waited in the narrow hall, wet suit jacket over his arm, water dripping from his hair. He didn't sit. He just watched the door as if watching could keep the child breathing. Kamsi handed him a towel. "Sir." "Thank you," Obina said. But he barely heard his own voice. Minutes stretched. The rain outside softened to a hard patter. The clinic smelled of antiseptic and old paint. The clock ticked too loudly. The nurse returned with a small smile. "He will be okay," she said. "We warmed him up. We gave him a short treatment. Please keep him dry and warm tonight. He needs rest." Adana took Alex into her arms again, relief flooding her face in quiet waves. She kissed his forehead, then looked up at the nurse. "Thank you." Obina stepped closer. "What does he need?" he asked. "Medicine? Food?" The nurse wrote on a pad. "Simple syrup for the cough, baby-safe steam at home, warm clothes, and a place away from the rain." Obina nodded and paid the bills at the front desk without a word. He added a donation for the night staff. When he returned, Adana was sitting on a plastic chair, rocking Alex gently, eyes fixed on him as if memorizing his breathing. He sat across from her. "I am taking you both home," he said. "You will stay one night. After that, you can decide what you want. No pressure, no condition. Just one safe night." She stared at him. "Why?" "Because you stood in a storm alone," he said. "And your baby was drowning in cold air. Tonight you rest." Her mouth tightened. "People help and then ask for things. I will not ask for anything," he said. "If I do say no." She held his eyes for a long time. The clock ticked. The rain hit the window. Alex slept, mouth open a little, breath soft. "All right?" she whispered. "One night." "Good," Obina said, and he almost smiled. The nurse returned with the syrup and a tiny spoon. "Give him this after food," she said. Adana tucked the medicine into her small canvas bag and reached for a folded cloth to cover Alex's head. Her hand paused. She frowned, then opened the bag wider, searching. "What is it?" Obina asked. She dug deeper, faster now. "My photo," she said, voice tight. "The photo of my mother. It was inside. I always keep it in the side pocket. It is gone." Obina leaned forward. "Are you sure?" "I kept it with me even in the rain," she said, panic climbing. "It was the only thing we had left from her. It was there. I felt it. Now it is not." Kamsi checked the floor and the hallway. Nothing. Musa spoke with the receptionist. No one had turned in a photo. Adana pressed a hand to her mouth. "They took it," she said hoarsely. Those men took it. Obina's face hardened. We will find it. That picture is all I have, she whispered. Her face, her handwriting on the back. Obina looked at Musa. Check the alley. Ask the watchman on that street. See if anyone saw the men. Musa nodded and stepped out, already dialing. Obina turned back to Adana. We will get it, he said. I promise. She closed the bag slowly, eyes wet but steady. She looked down at Alex, sleeping now, his chest moving in a small, even rhythm. I will go with you, she said quietly. One night. For him. Obina stood. Let's go. They walked out together into the cleaner, thinner rain. The lights of the convoy waited. Behind them, the clinic door swung shut. In Adana's bag, the empty pocket gaped like a small wound. The baby slept. The night held its breath. And somewhere in the dark, a missing photo changed hands. The tall gates of Obina's Ikoyi mansion slid open like a quiet promise. The billionaire who almost hit a girl in the rain was now bringing her home with her baby. Inside, warm light spilled over polished floors. Staff moved fast without noise. A heater hummed softly. A cot appeared in minutes, white sheets tucked tight. Clean towels, dry clothes, a small bottle warmer. Everything arrived as if the house had been waiting. Adana stood just inside the doorway, unsure of her feet. This place is too much, she whispered, clutching baby Alex. I don't belong here. You belong where your child is safe, Obina said. Tonight, that is here. She breathed in, slow and careful, then nodded. A young maid brought a soft robe and asked in a small voice, May I? Adana agreed. They took her to a guest room across the hall, cream walls, quiet lamps, the cot beside a wide bed. The moment Alex felt the warm blanket, his body loosened. He slept. Obina stayed in the corridor, speaking low into his phone. Chioma, I need you at my house. It's urgent. A young mother and her baby. Kamsi brought tea, then hovered, restless. Sir, should I place a guard at the main door? Yes, Obina said. And at the back garden. We had trouble earlier. Minutes later, Adana came out in the robe, hair towel dry, eyes red but steady. She stood by the doorway, not crossing into the open space, as if the air might reject her. Is he sleeping? Obina asked. She nodded. For now. He pulled a chair for her at the dining table. Steam rose from the tea. Drink, he said. Eat if you can. She stared at the cup as if it was a test. Why are you doing this? She asked. Because you were alone in the storm, he said simply. And you should not have been. She looked down, then took a small sip. The heat calmed her hands. Thank you. A door opened. A woman in a dark suit stepped in, her steps sharp and certain. Chief, she said, then turned to Adana with a quick, kind smile. I'm Barrister Chioma Ease. Adana stood halfway, unsure if she should sit or greet. Chioma waved her down gently. Please stay. We will talk. No pressure. Obina introduced them, then sat, watching both of their faces. We don't have time to waste, he said. There is a man who wants to keep her on the street. Chioma set a slim folder on the table and clicked a pen. Start from the beginning, she told Adana. Your mother's name? Ngozi, Adana said quietly. The name broke something soft in her chest. She taught me to be strong. She died 2 months ago. What property did she own? Chioma asked. A house in Suralere. 2 small plots in Aja. She ran a small fabric business. She saved everything. What happened after she died? Chioma's tone was calm, but her eyes were alert. My stepfather, Titus, took over everything, Adana said. He said there was a handwritten will. He said my mother left him everything because a young girl cannot handle property. When I asked to see a lawyer, he slapped me and threw me out with my son. He told me not to return. Obina's hands tightened on the chair. You saw this will? He waved a paper. I did not hold it. I did not see any witness. He buried her fast. I did not understand what to do. When I asked for my mother's documents, he said they were his now. Chioma wrote quick notes. Do you have anything? A small paper, a receipt, any copy of a title, a number, a lawyer's name your mother used. Adana shook her head slowly, then paused. Only a photo, she said. A picture of my mother. She wrote something at the back months ago, a name. I kept it in my bag. Tonight it disappeared. Obina leaned in. What name? I don't remember all of it, Adana said, frustrated. Just Uma. Or Uemi, she said. In case anything happens, ask Barrister. Then she smiled and said, I worry too much. I did not think I would need it. Chioma's eyes sharpened. Barrister Uma? I think so, Adana said, voice small. I am not sure. The writing was small. I wanted to keep it safe. Obina turned to Kamsi. Send Musa back to that street. Find the photo. Ask the watchman, the kiosk owners, anyone who sees the boys. Offer a reward. Already done, Kamsi said. He is out. Chioma set her pen down and looked at Adana fully. Listen to me. We can fight this. I will check the probate registry for any will filed by Titus. If he forged one, we will see the gaps, no proper witnesses, no registration. I will also check the land registry for any strange transfers to his name or a company he controls. We need your mother's hospital records too. The timing of her death matters. Adana blinked hard. You really think we can get it back? If your mother made a real will in your name, yes, Chioma said. Even if she did not, the law protects you from fraud and violence. We will move fast. Obina watched Adana's face. The fear was still there, but there was something else now, a small light. You are safe here, he said. Just rest tonight. Adana's voice shook. He will come, she whispered. Titus will come. He always finds me. Not here, Obina said. Chioma gathered her notes. I will file an urgent motion in the morning to freeze any transfers on the properties, she said. I will also start a search for this Barrister Uma. If your mother used him, there may be a certified copy of a real will. Adana nodded slowly. My mother was careful, she whispered. She saved everything. She wrote names in a small book. I do not have it. We will rebuild the trail, Chioma said. A soft cry came from the guest room. Adana stood at once. Alex, go, Obina said. We will wait here. She slipped back to the room. The house fell into a careful quiet. Chioma closed her folder and glanced at Obina. This will be a fight, she said. I know, he answered. Footsteps sounded near the main door. Musa stepped in, rein on his shoulders, voice low. Sir, I made a quick circle around the block, he said. There is a black Corolla parked 2 houses down. It has been idling for 20 minutes. Obina's eyes lifted. Plate. Musa read it from memory, then added, I ran it. It links to a company in Yaba. The contact number belongs to Titus Okeke. The room went still. The warm house suddenly felt colder. Outside, the night held its breath again. Morning light broke into the mansion, but no one felt rested. The memory of the black Corolla outside lingered like a shadow. Obina stood at the dining table with a strong cup of coffee while Barrister Chioma spread out files. Adana sat close by, rocking baby Alex gently, eyes fixed on the lawyer as if every word carried her future. Today, Chioma said firmly, we start digging. If Titus forged a will, it will leave marks. The probate registry in Ikeja, the land registry in Alausa, and the hospital where your mother died. That is where the truth is hiding. Adana lowered her gaze. He buried her so quickly. I never saw any paper with witnesses. Only the one he waved in the sitting room. He said she gave him everything. He said I was too young. Obina clenched his jaw. Greedy man. He will answer for it. He looked at Chioma. Take my full team. Whatever you need. By noon, they were on the move. Chioma took Kamsi with her to Ikeja. Musa drove ahead toward Alausa. Obina stayed with Adana and Alex at the mansion, waiting for calls, every minute stretching too long. The first update came from Chioma. Her voice was tight with urgency. Chief, I'm at the probate registry. No valid probate was granted to Titus. Only an application in process, and the file is incomplete. 2 supposed witnesses, but both names are blurred, no addresses. It screams forgery. Obina's eyes sharpened. So he lied. Not just lied, Chioma said. He faked everything. We will have proof. An hour later Musa called. Sir, land registry shows Ngozi's Surulere house and Aja plots were transferred last month to a company called OK Tech Ventures. The director? Titus's cousin. It's a shell. Adana's eyes filled with fresh tears when she heard. He took it all already. Everything my mother built. Obina reached across the table, steady. We are not finished yet. Evening fell and Musa returned with a small, wet parcel wrapped in newspaper. He set it on the table. I found it at a roadside stall. One of the boys sold it for a few notes. Adana gasped. My mother's photo. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside the cracked frame, her mother's face smiled softly, and on the back, faint but clear, the name Bar. Uma. Obina's chest tightened. There it is. Chioma's eyes lit up. That changes everything. If Ngozi used Barrister Uma, he may hold a certified copy of the true will. We need to find him. The next morning they drove to Enugu, where Uma had retired. His small bungalow sat quiet, files stacked high inside. When Chioma explained, his tired eyes softened. Yes, Ngozi was my client. She left a proper will. Everything to her daughter, Adana. I still have a certified copy. He brought out the file, yellowed but intact. The signatures, witnesses, and seal were all there. Adana pressed the paper to her chest, tears running down her face. She didn't forget me. She prepared for me. Obina put a hand on her shoulder. Your mother protected you, even in death. As they left Uma's house, Obina's phone buzzed. A blocked number. He answered, and a harsh voice poured through. Return what you stole from my house, Titus spat, or I will find you and your child. Obina's face hardened. Titus, you think money makes you strong? That girl is mine to deal with. Leave her or you'll regret it. Obina's voice dropped, cold as stone. You already regret the day you touched her. Try again, and I will bury you with evidence. The line cut, but the threat hung in the air. Adana gripped Alex tighter, whispering, He knows. He always knows. Obina turned to her, firm but calm. He can watch from the shadows all he wants. This time we have the truth. This time he cannot win. The night closed around them, heavy with danger, but the certified will in Chioma's bag felt like a torch. For the first time, Adana had more than fear. She had proof. And with Obina at her side, Titus's empire of lies was starting to crack. The next morning, Chief Obina sat at the head of his long dining table. His jaw tight, the certified copy of Ngozi's will spread before him. The bold letters naming Adana as the only heir stared back like a weapon. Beside him, Barrister Chioma adjusted her glasses, pen tapping against her notebook. Adana sat quietly with baby Alex asleep in her arms, her fingers brushing the edge of the paper as if it were life itself. We have proof, Obina said firmly. Now we strike first. No more waiting for Titus to move. We go to court. Chioma nodded. Yes, I will file 3 things immediately. 1. An ex parte motion to freeze all transfers on Ngozi's properties. 2. An originating summons challenging the forged handwritten will. And 3. A petition for criminal investigation into forgery and theft. Adana lifted her eyes, fear mixing with hope. Will that stop him? Chioma leaned forward. It will cut off his access to your mother's wealth. He won't be able to sell or mortgage anything while the court looks into the case. That will weaken him. Obina's phone buzzed. Musa spoke from the other end, his voice low and steady. Sir, we followed the black Corolla from last night. It went to Titus's house in Yaba. He has guards. He is moving fast, probably shifting documents. Obina's hand tightened around the phone. Let him try. We are faster. Later that day, they drove to the Lagos High Court. The marble steps rose tall, the air inside tense with echoing footsteps and voices. Adana clutched Alex close as if the walls themselves might swallow her. Chioma filed the urgent motions with sharp precision. "The judge will hear us within days," she told them. "Titus will not expect this speed." Back at the mansion, Musa came in with news. "I found Auntie Nkechi, the neighbor in Suralere." At first she was afraid, but she agreed to speak quietly. She said she saw Titus burn papers in the backyard the night Ngozi died. She also remembers Ngozi saying, "Adana will be safe when the will is read." Adana gasped. "She said that to her? She really said that?" "Yes," Musa replied, "but Nkechi is afraid. She fears Titus will harm her if she talks in court." Obinna looked at Chioma. "Can we protect her?" "Yes," Chioma said, "but she must be brave enough to testify. We'll put her under police protection when the time comes." Adana turned to Obinna, her voice trembling. "He destroyed my mother's papers. He lied. He almost made me believe I had nothing." Obinna touched the edge of the will with his finger. "He failed. The truth is here, Adana, and it is stronger than his lies." Evening came heavy with tension. The family gathered in the lounge, the soft glow of lamps making the mansion feel smaller, safer. But the illusion broke when Musa entered again, face dark. "There was a break-in attempt at the safe house where I kept copies of our evidence," Musa said. "We stopped them, but they tried hard. They wanted the documents." Adana's breath caught. "It was him. It has to be him." Chioma's voice was sharp. "This means he knows we are close. He is desperate." Obinna stood, anger flickering in his eyes. "Good. Let him be desperate. It means he is afraid, and fear will make him slip." For a moment, silence filled the room except for baby Alex's soft breathing. Adana looked from Obinna to Chioma and then down at her son. "I don't care about riches," she whispered. "I only want my child safe. That's all." Obinna's voice softened. "He will be safe. You will be safe. And you will have what your mother wanted for you. That is my promise." The next day, blogs began to hum. A quiet press statement from Obinna's foundation appeared online. "We are standing by a young widow's daughter to seek justice against property fraud and abuse of inheritance rights." Headlines spread fast. "Billionaire to battle greedy stepfather in court," and whispers filled the city. Titus's name floated through social media, drawing suspicion. That evening, Adana sat by the guest room window, Alex asleep beside her. She looked out at the rain starting again, thin drops against the glass. Her voice was soft when she spoke, but Obinna, standing in the doorway, heard every word. "My mother warned me," she murmured. "She said if anything happened to her, I must fight. I was too scared. But now, I will fight." Obinna stepped inside, his tone calm but heavy with steel. "And you will not fight alone. Tomorrow the court will hear your voice through us. Titus will learn what it means to steal from the dead and throw out the living." Adana turned, her eyes wet but determined. "Then let tomorrow come." The rain thickened outside. Somewhere in Yaba, Titus planned his next move. But in Obinna's mansion, for the first time, Adana was not running. She was ready. "Court rise!" The clerk's voice rang out, and every person in the crowded Lagos High Court stood as Justice Adebayo walked in. His face was firm, his robe sweeping as he took his seat. This matter of Adana versus Titus Okeke, regarding the estate of late Ngozi Okeke, will now be heard. Adana sat at the front, baby Alex asleep against her chest, her hands trembling slightly. Chief Obinna sat beside her, calm but sharp-eyed, his presence like a shield. Barrister Chioma stood ready, files stacked, eyes blazing with focus. Across the aisle, Titus entered with his lawyers. He wore a smug smile, but his eyes darted nervously at the gallery packed with reporters, bloggers, and curious Lagosians. The story had spread, the billionaire backing the daughter against her wicked stepfather. Justice Adebayo's voice cut through the murmurs. "Counsel, proceed." Chioma rose. Her voice was clear. "My lord, this case is about truth buried under lies. We will prove that the so-called handwritten will presented by Mr. Titus is a forgery, and that the true will of Madame Gozi left her entire estate to her only daughter, Adana. We will also prove deliberate fraud, forgery, and intimidation. Titus's lawyer jumped up. Objection. My lord, this is a family matter being sensationalized by outsiders. The young lady was never meant to inherit. The stepfather is the rightful guardian of the estate. Justice Adebayo lifted one hand. Sit down, counsel. The court will see evidence, not empty speeches. Chioma's first exhibit was the certified copy of the true will from Barrister Uma. She placed it on the judge's desk with steady hands. Executed properly, signed by 2 witnesses, stamped and sealed by a licensed lawyer, months before Madame Gozi's death. The judge nodded slowly. And the alleged will Titus provided? Chioma held up the flimsy handwritten sheet, then passed it to the registrar. No witness signatures, no lawyer, no registration. Forensic analysis shows the ink is only weeks old. Madame Gozi had been dead 2 months at that time. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Adana's grip tightened on Alex. Titus's lawyer scrambled. My lord, handwriting can vary, but the intent. Enough, Justice Adebayo snapped. We will hear witnesses. First came Barrister Uma himself. The elderly man walked slowly to the stand, glasses perched low. Yes, I drafted Madame Gozi's will. She was clear, her daughter Adana is the sole beneficiary. This certified copy is one of 3 I kept for safety. Next came Auntie Nkechi. She trembled as she raised her hand to swear the oath. That night, the night Madame died, I saw Titus in the backyard. He burned papers in a small fire. Madame told me weeks earlier, Adana will be safe when the will is read. But the next day, Titus said the will left everything to him. Chioma's voice was soft but firm. Why did you stay silent until now? Tears slid down Nkechi's face. Because I was afraid of him. He threatened me. But I cannot watch this girl suffer anymore. The judge looked at her with gravity. Your courage is noted. Obinna leaned closer to Adana. Whispering. She spoke. That's the truth your mother left behind. Titus shifted in his seat, sweat shining on his forehead. His lawyer tried again, desperate. My lord, these are emotional stories. We have no proof Titus forged anything himself. Chioma turned calmly. Then let the doctor speak. The attending doctor appeared on a screen via video link. His voice cracked slightly. I treated Madame Gozi. I was pressured by Mr. Titus to alter her medication logs. He wanted it to look like she was too weak to think clearly. I refused. Then I was forced to leave Lagos. The judge's face darkened. Mr. Titus, this court does not look kindly on tampering with medical records. Finally, Chioma called Adana herself. She stood, baby on her hip, her voice steady though her eyes glistened. My lord, I am not fighting for riches. I am fighting because my mother trusted me. She prepared everything so her child would not suffer. But the man who should have protected me threw me out on the street with my baby. He told me I was cursed. If not for Chief Obinna, my son might not be alive today. I only ask that my mother's wish be honored. The gallery erupted in murmurs. Obinna's chest tightened with pride. Even Justice Adebayo leaned forward, expression unreadable. Titus snapped suddenly, slamming his fist on the table. She lies. That girl was never fit to inherit. I protected that estate because she would waste it. The court gasped. Chioma's eyes gleamed. So you admit you took control against her mother's will? Titus froze, realizing too late what he had said. His lawyer tried to cover. My lord, he only meant. Silence, the judge thundered. This court has heard enough. I will retire and return with a ruling. The gavel struck once. Adjourned until judgment. The courtroom buzzed as people rose, voices mixing, phones flashing. Reporters whispered headlines already forming. Adana collapsed into her seat, clutching Alex, her chest rising fast. It's almost over, she whispered half to herself. Obinna touched her arm gently. Yes, and the truth is already winning. Chioma packed her files, a thin smile at the corner of her mouth. We gave the court everything. Now we wait. But Obina's eyes moved past them to Titus, who sat rigid, his smug mask gone, his face pale. For the first time, the man looked small. And Obina knew it was only the beginning of his fall. The courtroom was full before the judge returned. Cameras flashed, whispers rose and fell, and every face turned toward the front like the whole city was holding its breath. Adana sat very still with baby Alex sleeping on her chest. Chief Obina sat beside her, hands clasped, eyes fixed on the empty bench. Barrister Chioma's files were stacked and closed. There was nothing left to say. The clerk stepped out. Court rise. Justice Adebayo entered, robe sweeping, face stern. He sat, adjusted his glasses and looked over the room. His voice was firm. This court has considered the evidence, the testimony, and the law. Adana's fingers tightened around Alex. Obina felt his heartbeat in his throat. The certified will prepared by Barrister O. Uma is valid, the judge said slowly. It names Adana as the sole beneficiary of the estate of the late Ngozi Okeke. The alleged handwritten document produced by Mr. Titus Okeke is a forgery. It carries no legal weight. A sound rippled through the gallery like wind through leaves. Reporters leaned forward, pens ready. Chioma exhaled softly. Obina did not move. In addition, Justice Adebayo continued, all transfers made to OK Tech Ventures and any other company linked to Mr. Titus Okeke are voided. The Suralere House and the Aja plots are restored to Adana with immediate effect. This court orders a full accounting of all rent and income taken from those properties within the last 2 months. Adana's lips parted. No sound came out. She blinked fast, eyes flooding. The judge's voice grew even harder. Finally, this court refers Mr. Titus Okeke for criminal investigation on counts of forgery, perjury, attempted tampering with medical records, and intimidation. The police will act forthwith. Silence fell for one long second. Then the room exploded into noise. Phones lifted. Flashes burst. Voices rose all at once. The bailiff shouted for order. Adana pressed her face into Alex's hair and shook with quiet sobs. Chioma put a hand on her shoulder. It is done, she said softly. Your mother's word stands. Obina stood and looked at the bench as if he had just seen a mountain move. His eyes stung. He did not try to hide it. He turned to Adana. Your mother protected you, he said quietly. She won. Across the aisle, Titus jumped to his feet, rage twisting his face. This is a setup, he shouted. She bewitched you all. She. 2 officers stepped toward him. He tried to push past, tried to lunge toward Adana. You ungrateful girl, he yelled. You will not. Musa moved fast, planting himself between Titus and Adana with one calm step. The officers grabbed Titus by the arms. He struggled, spit flying, words breaking. The judge's gavel struck hard. Remove him. They dragged Titus back. The fight left his body in a sudden drop, and for the first time he looked small, like a man who had finally hit the wall he thought he could walk through. Outside the courtroom doors, the hallway roared with questions. Adana, how do you feel? Chief Obina, why did you take this case personally? Barrister Chioma, what comes next? Chioma raised a hand. No comments at this time, she said, steady. Let them breathe. Musa cleared a path gently. They moved as a tight circle. Obina at the front, Chioma beside him. Adana in the middle with baby Alex cradled against her chest. Musa watching every angle. In the corridor, where the noise thinned just a little, Adana stopped. She looked up at Obina, eyes red, cheeks wet. Thank you, she whispered. You believed me before we had proof. You stood in the rain. You stood in court. Thank you. Obina swallowed. I am the one who should say sorry, he said. That night, I shouted at you in anger. I spoke like a man who did not know your story. I am sorry for that. I am sorry for every time the world shouted at you when you were already drowning. Adana shook her head, tears spilling again. You did not leave me there, she said. That is what I will remember. Baby Alex stirred, rubbed his face against her chest, and fell back into sleep. She kissed his hair and exhaled a long, shaky breath that sounded like a door opening after years. A reporter squeezed close. Chief Obinna, one quote, please. How does it feel to see the ruling? Obinna met the reporter's eyes and gave one clean sentence. Justice for a daughter and for a mother's last wish, he said. That is how it should feel. They stepped outside into the bright afternoon. The sky was clear now, washed clean. On the steps, people began to clap. Quiet at first, then stronger. Auntie Nkechi stood near the railing, hands trembling, tears running freely. I am sorry I was late, she told Adana when they drew near. I was afraid. Forgive me. Adana reached for her and hugged her with one arm, careful with the baby. You were brave today, she said. Thank you. Police led Titus out a side exit toward a waiting van. He kept his eyes on the ground. The crowd fell silent as he passed. Then the noise returned like a tide pulling back in. Chioma checked her watch. Next steps, she said, switching back to duty. We will file the order for immediate restoration, serve the land registry, and notify the tenants to pay only to Adana or her appointed agent. We will also request police protection for the Suralier house. Obinna nodded. Do it now. I will handle the repairs on the house and arrange a simple trust for Alex. Adana looked at him quickly. I don't want to be a burden. You are not a burden, Obinna said. You are an heir. And a mother. She lowered her eyes, smiling through tears. My mother would have liked you, she said. She liked people who did what they said. They reached the cars. The crowd behind the barrier kept shouting names. Adana! Chief! Barrister! Phones raised high, faces bright with relief. A young woman pushed a small envelope through the gap in the barrier. For your foundation, she called, to help other girls. Please. Obinna took it gently and passed it to Chioma. We will use it well, he said. They were about to get in when Adana stopped again. She looked at Obinna, eyes steady now. Chief, she said softly. What happens to girls who don't meet a man like you? The question hung in the warm air. Cars idled. Cameras blinked. Somewhere far off, a siren wailed and faded. Obinna did not rush his answer. He glanced at baby Alex, at Adana's tired face, at the crowd behind the rail. His voice, when it came, was quiet. Then we build something so they don't have to, he said. Adana held his gaze for a moment. She nodded once like a promise. Then she opened the car door and slid in with her child, the judgment still echoing in her chest, the future opening just a little wider than the day before. The gates of the Suralier house opened slowly, and Adana stood still, holding baby Alex, unable to step forward at first. The home her mother built stood in front of her. Fresh paint, repaired roof, the yard swept clean. Chief Obinna stopped beside her. This is yours, he said quietly. Let's go in. She took a breath and nodded. They walked up the short path. A small group waited inside. Barrister Chioma with a folder, Musa standing watch, 2 workers who had fixed the windows and the leaking kitchen roof. The living room smelled like soap and new wood. On the wall, a framed photo of Ngozi had been placed with care, glass shining softly in the light. Adana swallowed hard. You found her picture, she whispered. Obinna nodded. Musa recovered it. We had the frame repaired. She moved closer, touching the frame with careful fingers. Thank you, she said, her voice breaking for a second. Alex grabbed her necklace and cooed, as if he knew the house already. Chioma stepped forward. Adana, she said, gentle but firm. We will go through this slowly. These are your documents. She opened the folder. A certified copy of the court order, the deed for the Suralier house, the documents for the Aja plots, and a fresh letter to tenants instructing them to pay to Adana or her appointed agent. We have also filed for police patrols here for 2 weeks, just to be safe. Adana stared at the papers, then looked at Chioma. This does not feel real, she said. It is real, Chioma replied. Your mother wrote it into being. The court only followed her voice. Obinna pulled out one more envelope. This is separate, he said. I spoke with Chioma. We set up a simple trust for Alex. You will be guardian. Funds will be there for his health, schooling, and anything he needs. You will approve decisions. The trust is only a safety net, not a cage. Adana blinked. You did all this? For us? For your son, Obina said. And for your mother's wish. She looked down at Alex. Say thank you, she murmured, kissing his hair. Then she lifted her head and met Obina's eyes. We are grateful. There was a knock at the open door. Auntie Nkechi stood there, hands clasped, eyes red but smiling. May I come in? She asked softly. Please, Adana said, moving toward her. They hugged in the doorway, a long, quiet hug that felt like a piece of time had been repaired. You came, Adana whispered. Kechi nodded. I brought something. She opened a small bag and handed over a worn notebook. Your mother's book. I hid it when I realized Titus was searching the house. I was afraid. I am sorry it took so long. Adana opened the book with shaking hands. Inside were neat lists, dates, names, numbers, and short notes in Ngozi's handwriting. One page read, In case of trouble, Bar. Oh. Uma has the will. Another read, Teach Adana to sign her name proudly. Tears rose again. She wrote everything, Adana said, smiling through them. She wrote everything. Obina's face softened. She built a map for you. They moved into the kitchen. Workers had replaced the broken cupboards and installed a simple water filter. A pot steamed on the stove. Musa had arranged for food from a nearby caterer. Eat, Obina said. No one should start a new chapter on an empty stomach. They ate together at the small table. The house felt alive again. Laughter came in short, surprised bursts. Alex banged his tiny palm on the table and grinned. For the first time since the rain, Adana's shoulders were not pulled up around her ears. After lunch, they walked through the rooms. In the bedroom, a new mattress lay on the bed frame. A clean baby cot leaned by the window. Near the door, a small safe had been installed for documents. No more papers and bags, Chioma said gently. Let them rest where they cannot be stolen. Adana nodded. They will rest here, she said, and placed the court order inside. It felt like placing a stone, solid and final.